Hello, guys. Welcome to our very first dive into the world of web development. Now, if you're a total beginner dreaming of building your own website but don't know where to start from, don't worry. Together, we'll go through setting up your PC for web development. But before we do all that, we need to first of all have a look at some important terms and concepts in web development before we dive into writing some code. So, without wasting much time, let's dive in. Okay, so we'll dive into web documents, have a look at document extensions, and also HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, these are the most important and fundamental web documents we need in our web development journey. And then finally, we would have a look at the purpose of these web documents in our web development journey. Okay, guys, so let's first of all go through what we mean by documents, what we mean by web document. Now, documents and files use the extensions and names to define their type and purpose. Now, this means that every file or most of the files we deal with, or most of the documents we deal with on our computer, they have names and then types. Now, the types is identified with an extension. Okay, so for example, when you see a name like resume.docx, the extension part starts from the dots. Okay, and it tells you the type of file you are dealing with. So, for example, the first one, resume.docx, the .docx tells you that you are dealing with what, a Microsoft Word document. Point two, when you see letter.txt, it tells you you are dealing with what, a plain text file, right? And I know most of us take pictures and videos and all that. Now, anytime you see a file ending with .png, it tells you you are dealing with what, an image file, right? And anytime you see a file ending with .mp4, uh, it tells you you are dealing with what, a video file. Now we are able to tell this using the extension of the file, right? And as you can see below here, the extension starts from the dots. Okay, now most of us make the mistake of ignoring the dots when we are listing the extensions, or when we want to identify the extension. Now, pay close attention to the dot, okay? Because that's where the extension starts from. It starts from the dot. So if I ask you right now, give me three examples of file extensions. Okay, I know most of you will be like, okay, docx, txt, and then png. No, it's wrong. Okay, now the extension starts from the dot, so it should be something like .docx, .txt, .png, and then .mp4. Okay, so now let's reiterate. So now we've learned that um, files and documents have names and extensions, and then the extension part of the file name tells you the type of file you are dealing with. So from now onwards, anytime you see a file, you should be able to differentiate between their type and the purpose they serve on your computer. Okay, so now let's move to web documents. So to build websites, we need to write web documents. The fundamental documents required for this task include HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Now, these are the most important and fundamental web documents you need in your web development journey. Now, the first one is HTML, the second one is CSS, and then the third one is JavaScript. Now, we need to pay close attention to the extensions or the file extensions of these web documents. So for HTML, we have the .html or .htm. You can use any of these two and it will work just fine. And for CSS, we also have .css, and then for JavaScript, we have .js. So anytime you see any file ending with .js, it should tell you you are dealing with what, a JavaScript file. Anytime you see a file or a document ending with .css, it should tell you are dealing with what, a cascading style sheet file, right? And anytime you also see a file or document ending with .htm or .html, it should tell you are dealing with what, an HTML file. So as you can see here below, we have some examples of some file names of these types. So we have index.html, we have style.css, and we also have style.js. So from our previous slides, we went through some file extensions, and we learned that file extensions, they tell you the type of file you are dealing with, right? Okay, so anytime you see any of these file extensions, you should be able to tell the type of file you are dealing with. Okay, so finally, let's go through the purpose of these web documents. Now, building a website is just like building a house. First, you set the foundation and add some basic elements like bricks. Then you make it look nice. You make your house look nice by painting it, right, to make it look attractive. And then finally, you connect things like electricity and ensure everything works, similar to making sure the elevator is operational in your house. So, um, as you can see here, building a website is just like, or it's similar to building a house. So to build a house, first of all, you lay down your foundation, and then you start putting up the brick, right? So that's the structure. And then after laying down or putting up your bricks and your roofing, you paint your house to make it look attractive, right? And then after you are done making it look attractive, finally you since you'll be using some air conditioning and electricity and other electrical gadgets and accessories, you need to connect electricity in your home to make it what interactive, right? So in terms of the web, you can categorize these into three. Okay, that is the structure, the presentation, and then the interactivity. So similar to building a house, where we lay down our bricks and where we lay down our foundation and also our bricks, right? In terms of web development, we also have to put down some structure. So that is what we use HTML for, right? And then let's go back to our house. So after putting our bricks and our structure, we need to paint our house and make it look attractive. Now, when you come back to the web realm, right, it's known as the presentation part of web development. So that is where we use CSS, cascading style sheet. We use CSS to make our website attractive, right, and also make it look nice. Okay, and then when you go back to your home, you need to, after painting your house and making it look nice, you need to connect some electricity. Since you'll be using electrical gadgets, you'll be pressing buttons to put on lights and all that. So when you come back to the web development realm, that is where interactivity comes in, and we use JavaScript for that. Okay, so in web development, we have three main parts. We have the structure, the presentation, and the interactivity. So we use the HTML to structure our content on the web, and then we use CSS to make the layout look nice and attractive, and also we add some interactivity. We make sure that when you click on some buttons on our website, it should be interactive. When you click on those buttons, something should happen on our website. Okay, so that is what we use JavaScript for. So this brings us to the end of this session, right? So we've gone through web documents, file names and extensions, and also we've gone through some extensions of the most fundamental web documents we need. That is HTML, CSS, and also JavaScript. And then finally, we've looked at the purpose of this web document. That is the structure, the presentation, and the interactivity. So in subsequent videos, we also go through the tools and software we need to create or to start writing web documents in order to create our website. So see you in the next video, guys.